time on my hands, but I usually don't. So I want to talk to you about my opinion about certain things. This one's about relationships and confidence. You can be a confident man, a confident woman. It irritates me when women try to compete with men because I certainly don't want to be a man, and nor do I think that to be a confident woman, I need to be taking a man's dot 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 off. You know what I'm saying? I like a man to open the door, be a gentleman, you know, um, be sensitive without being a woman, um, have a nice conversation. I like academia, like an academic man, somebody who um, represents themselves well in terms of having confidence to hold conversations, all that stuff. That being said, that all comes with time. You can have a bad relationship with one guy, you can have a bad relationship with five guys, or a man can have a bad relationship with one woman, or a bad relationship with five women. It doesn't consist of the rest of society, or, there's always somebody for you. Don't lose your confidence. That being said, um, so in my opinion, you know, um, I was talking about the other day, Cynthia and I were talking about like certain things that happen um, in our society right now, especially with high sensitivity over race relations and other things. And I keep saying we're the human race. We're all people, you know. Um, and you can be a strong person, whether you're a man or a woman, but you don't have to compete with each other and all that stuff. And that took me a very long time. I was in a very bad place in my last relationships, and and I won't go into the detail of that because that's something I'm going to keep to myself for my children and for my family. Um, but but when I say a bad place, like extremely low, the lowest you can go in relationships, and so but it took me. I was in that place for years, and then it took me years to get to where I am now. So nobody's saying that your confidence will elevate just because you say, "Oh, I want to be confident," but you have to work on it. And the first thing, in my opinion, that I think that people need to work on is how they view themselves. And I never competed with another woman. I never felt I had to, and that's not being conceited. That's just liking myself in terms of it is what it is. God gave me what I have, and you make the best of it. Um, there's always going to be somebody prettier, and there's always going to be somebody smarter. Um, and it doesn't matter how smart you are and how handsome or pretty you are. That's just a fact. And if you're the type of person who will allow yourself to become jealous or envious of others, you'll be a miserable person for the rest of your life. So not a good look, not a good thing. Um, do things that make you happy. I like Pilates, I like yoga, I like jogs, I like reading. I like my podcasts with Cynthia. I hurt my shoulder, sorry. I just had therapy on it today, and oh my God, it was so good. Um, but, I, I do things that make me, happy. So, um, you just have to find what it is that you like to do and create new hobbies for yourself. And I like being by myself. Like, I have friends. I'm actually getting together with some friends, but I like my alone time. I don't mind it. I'm not afraid of being by myself, so that's really good. um, and then if you are seeking a partner, get a supportive partner. who's there for you. I certainly have one, and it's taken me 53 years to find out what a man is, and um, it's not about, you know, upping anybody. It's finding the right partner for you. So that being said, I was in a situation where I became um, aware of somebody in my surroundings who was having an issue. And it was out in public, in an institution of some kind. And they were discussing how they felt unheard in their relationship and what was going on in their world at the time. And the gist of what I got out of the situation, and I really didn't know this person prior to this conversation, was that and this was a male, African American, and he felt unheard. He felt that that the person that was in charge, who was speaking to him, wasn't listening to him. So he had gone out in the hallway outside of that conversation that he had just had, and he was talking to a guard who was there, and he was very upset, highly upset. And normally I would, not get involved in somebody else's stuff, due to the fact that it one, it's none of my business, and two, you don't have all the facts. You don't know, what this person did, or what this person, what their moral foundation is. You have nothing. You have no facts that have happened. But generally, you can see who is being honest. You know, like I said, I found it very, very interesting that somebody was talking about the differences between family courts and criminal courts, and the way things are seen by those in authority. And and again, none of that's fact. What I hear, I have an opinion on, but again, that's what it is. It's my opinion. Facts are different for everybody who's listening to them. I mean, there are some things in life that are given, and some things in life that people tweak to their advantage, and depending on who the people are in that situation. But this male seemed to me, in my opinion, to be very honest. And he was there without somebody to represent him, or to defend him. He was there on his own, and he was defending his point that his ex-spouse, lover, friend, person in his life had taken their child, and left, and just like took off. And from what I gathered, they had for a while been going back and forth with what seemed to be a young child. And the young child was in another state from where he was right now, and from where he was discussing these issues. And the advice to him was to get somebody to help him out with his situation. And he was saying, and a lot of times people don't realize, get somebody to help you out. Well, that somebody costs money. Nobody's going to help you out because you're right. Nobody's going to help you out because you're honest. Nobody's going to help you out just because they like you. They're going to ask you to write a check. And for some people, that's a really difficult situation. I know from my situation, writing a check when I have triplets and I have just small bills to pay, and I have a beautiful father who has helped me out in life so that I can um, be their advocate academically and 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 pour most of my energy into that. Um, you know, uh, so my resources and my money wasn't there for me to have representation or have somebody by my side when I was at my lowest. So I only could get stronger on my own. Maybe that is why I've become stronger in my ability to speak. It took me years from where I was in a very bad, um, very abusive kind of world with my ex. And um, when somebody has you down to the ground, I'm talking metaphorically, and and takes you down that way, sometimes, and I listen, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a doctor, disclaimer, if you need mental health, please go get it, please call your local police, please call the YWCA. For 90% of people it helps. um, uh, it wasn't for me, but for 90% of people who really are not able to, um, not that they're not strong, because everybody has their strength, but who need it, it's good. For the few that it works, it's good. For call your local police. Most police are really good and will be there for you. Um, uh, Call anybody in your life that you feel will help just move you in the right direction. Get in touch with that person. That being said, for me, I felt my strength came from doing it for myself, doing it by myself. And I think that that's really important for people to find out, what works for them. It took me years to talk to somebody about what I was going through. It took me um, um, years to find the strength to get back up and to have a voice, and so somebody can say, well, if you've been in a similar situation like me, why aren't you down on the ground? Believe me, I was down on the ground, and I've shed many tears for many years. And physically, mentally, emotionally, um, I went through a lot for a really long, long time, and a huge part of my life. And for me, in my opinion, for myself only I speak, my faith in God and the fact that I believe that God sees everything. A liar, a good liar, can lie to anybody. And I always say to the people that I think are liars, you can lie to the people down here, and you might even sound convincing, but you cannot lie to the Creator. And that's just a fact. You can, there is something, in my opinion, that is larger than us, and you can't lie. You can't, because I believe that God sees in your heart, He sees in your mind, He sees what falls off your tongue, He sees what you've done, what you've said. So sometimes I've heard the term, and I've even said it myself, a good liar is somebody who believes their lies. But you have to be out of your mind if you think God can't see through that and see who you are. I knew somebody who stood on their parents' grave and swore up and down about things that I had already proven, and I'm not going to discuss them, that they have done. that I knew factually that for certain actions that I took, I found out. And to stand on your parents' grave and lie, all I can say is I feel sorry for their parent, who I believe is watching, and I feel sorry for when you have done something, you need to take responsibility for it. Look in the mirror. Lying to a therapist, lying to anybody in authority. If you think you can run away from the things that you need to be accountable for, you can't. So that's in my opinion. But I was watching this man cry about his child, this African American young man, and I honestly saw the tears, the frustration, and the pain, and I related to it. And like I said, I don't know all the facts, so I'm only going, in my opinion, from the things that I had been, that were in front of my face, but I believed him. I believed he was sincere that he missed his kid. I believed he was sincere that he was frustrated, that he thought a system wasn't listening to him. I think that my advice to people is that, you know, when relationships are taking a downturn and there's especially physical abuse or emotional abuse involved with it, that you can get clouded in your reactions. You might, not everybody, but for some, you might become very reactionary. My advice is to take a breath, take a deep breath, and slow your mind down. I've had exes interrupt authority. I have myself, out of frustration, interrupt authority, and I can tell you, even if the person who is in authority understands like the emotion, in order for them to take control over it, they have to lay a foundation of rules down. Otherwise, everybody's emotional and it becomes a Jerry Springer moment. And, or a crazy moment where people just lose their emotions and can't control them. So you need to find a place where, for me, I meditate, I walk, I take my alone time, I read. I love reading. I do my projects. That's how I regain my composure and my ability to move forward in other situations that I need to. Like I said, not knowing his situation, I felt he was upset. He knew, he had even said to me when I spoke to him, because I did go up to him and try to give him some advice, and I heard his frustration because he felt people weren't listening to him, but I was trying to give him advice on how to react a little more calmly so that they do hear him. And he said, am I to go and take my child from her? And I said, no, you don't want to do that to the child. And you don't want to get arrested. You have to be a strong man, because I was talking to a male, so it could be a woman. Women fly off the handle too. And I said to him, you have to be a strong man, and you have to just do things by the book, go talk to the right people in authority, but this is the way you have to do it. There was some words back and forth, because some people just want to be heard, and they can't understand why there has to be these certain rules of the way that we speak in certain situations. And there just is. If, life is a set of rules, and if you don't abide by those rules, sometimes they're there to protect us, even from ourselves. So, again, there are rules that I don't like, or laws that I don't think are fair. like the law that at 17 years old in New York, I believe in my opinion, a child can say yes to sex with a 60-year-old, a 70-year-old, a 45-year-old. Okay, when a 16-year-old's with a 45-year-old, it's pretty disgusting, um, in my opinion, uh, because your frontal lobe, your brain is not developed enough to make just decisions, in my opinion. Disclaimer, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a lawyer, in my opinion. In 16, I believe the laws are that a 16-year-old can sleep with a 60-year-old consensually. In New York, it's 17. Both of them, and I'm not a doctor, disclaimer, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a therapist, nothing. This is all in my opinion. Both of them are disgusting. You know, but if the words consensual are used by both parties, then it's allowed. And that's disgusting. As a mother, as a person, to look at a child sexually is disgusting. Certain cultures do certain things differently. I know a person who would, when they pinched people, they would go underneath to pinch them, very low. I found it disgusting, but yet, somehow, in their culture, that's okay. And so everybody has an opinion of what's appropriate and what's not. But, in my opinion, we need to respect each other, and we need to respect other people's children, and we need to get a grip on reality. So I do wish that young man well. He was a handsome, seemed like a smart, seemed like he was representing himself well, just a little too much. And he let his emotion go for a little while there. And I just think that if you have an ex that has been abusive, that has punched you in the face, that has had his hands around your neck, that has dragged you by your hair off of a bed and punched you over and over again, I'm not saying this happened to me. These are stories sometimes that I hear. I am telling you, don't go back. There's no reason to say hello, but don't follow them. Don't seek people like that. Seek people who elevate you. Seek people who find your value. Seek people who want the best for you. Seek people who look to be good people, not just a show. People can go and party and they can do everything they want and they think they're having a great time. But when they're shitting on other people, when they're taking down other people, when they're hurting other people, and it doesn't faze them, they are mentally incompetent. Because not to have empathy for another human being who is down on the ground and crying, there is something wrong with that person and they need help. Remember that the problem does not lie with the person, whether it is a male, a female, an adult, a child. The problem does not lie with the person who is being abused. You will get back up. You say that to yourself every day. You will stand back up. And you will find love. And you are worthy of being treated well. Educate yourself. Today, there's so much for everybody out there to Google and to search for. I used to have to go when I was little to a library, look in the catalog, and the Oh my God, I can't think of the word right now, but it was like these little drawers you'd pull out, and you'd look something up, and then you'd have to go find the book, and research things, and read all day long. Today, you just have to type in a word on a computer. If you don't have a computer, go to a library. You know, there's so many ways to obtain information today quickly to help you. Like I said, the YWCA is a great place for people to go to. It did not work for some people I know, and it's not for everybody. You know, sometimes if you're at the point, if you've done the hard work and you've gotten back up and you're up off your feet from where that person put you, it's really very therapeutic to be able to slow down and slow your mind down, but to speak up for yourself and to say, no more. I am not your punching bag. No more. If you're in an open relationship and that's great for you, more power to you. Go do what you have to do. I don't agree with it. I don't like it. In my opinion, it's disgusting, because then you don't have a commitment. You're not married in an open relationship. You have an open relationship in your marriage, then you're not married. You're going out with a piece of paper, okay? That says that you'll get Social Security benefits if anything happens to the other person. Other than that, you're not married. You're immature people who are abusing, in my opinion, the commitment of marriage. But in any case, find the value and the strength in having a partner that values the same ideals and morals that you have. Search for that. Find what kind of spirituality makes you feel whole again. I could not do it without God in my life. I could not get through what I had to get through in my life without God. And I sleep very well at night, because every morning I wake up, I know I'm trying my best either to give out information here that might help somebody else, or to just become a little stronger. And I have messed up financially in the past. I have messed up in relationships in the past. I've messed up with people that I brought into my life. People I brought into my children's life. I always say my first marriage, you don't have to like the person, but I can't regret it because I love my children. Glad it's over, but I have beautiful children from it, So sometimes bad things happen for a purpose, and if you don't look at it that way, you'll never be able to get past it. I'd say every negative in my life is a blessing that God bestowed on me. Every damaging, bad thing that's ever happened to me is a blessing that God bestowed on me, because it has brought me to the point where I have been able to love and adore myself and take care of myself. And then, because I do love, adore, and take care of myself, I am able to give that love back tenfold to my children and to my parents and to the family members I love and my friends that I love and to my life. And that'll trickle down in my relationship. I have made a better choice in a person in my relationship because of those horrible things that in my opinion, have happened to me. Not that's not an opinion. Facts have happened to me. But I'll never go into details. But what I will say is I understand so much more today about the misguided, false authority that abusers have and that victims allow them to have. And it's never your fault if you are a victim, but I'm, in my opinion, trying to give you some insight that you can be stronger than you've ever been, and you look in the mirror and find things that you love about yourself. You do never, ever, ever, if you're a man, compete with another man. Never, ever, ever compete with another woman. I love being in my skin. I love who I am. I wake up every morning loving who I am and who I've become as a mother, and not that it's perfect, because there are days I get down on myself for the choices I made in the past and people that I brought into my life that were unhealthy, particularly to men. And you wish them well, you have your kids. That's what you need to think. You have your children. The liars can lie to, believe me, I've had liars in my life. 2 in particular I can think of that are huge liars. But God sees everything. He sees my false spoken words, and he sees my true spoken words. He sees my sins, and he sees my goodness. He sees everything in everyone. You cannot lie. You can lie to your priest. You can lie to your to other parishioners. You can lie to your colleagues. You can lie. But if you are the type of person who tries to take another human being down, you cannot lie to God. If you are a woman who does not mind being with a man who is abusing his spouse, or a woman who is abusing her spouse, and you're with that person, you are just as guilty, in my opinion. And wearing a cross or a Star of David or anything else that represents your spirituality is only a false lie if you cannot be truthful with who you are and change your ways. So everything I've said is in my opinion. Disclaimer, I'm not anybody in authority to anyone except myself. I'm not a priest, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a judge, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a doctor. But I am somebody who has been through certain experiences, and I hope that I can help somebody out there. I hope people who cause other pain, they just trickle that down to their own children and their own families. When you don't care about others, you're hurting the people that are around you also. Know who you are, love who you are, but don't be false and don't be conceited and don't think you're all that. Because at night, when you look in the mirror and you know you've lied to everybody and you know that you've abused people, you have to sleep with those nightmares. So unless you can be truthful to God, you can sit at an anger management program, you can sit with your priest, you can sit with whoever is helping you, but if you're lying to them, you're not growing and you're not learning. You're just a good con artist. Learn from your mistakes. And again, I'll always say this. If you have an ex lover, friend, husband, whatever, don't follow them on social media. Don't chase them down. Don't. Why, why would you chase something that has held you down for so long and beaten you? Then you're not afraid. When you're really afraid, you don't ever want to see those human beings ever again in your life. You don't want to hurt them. You don't want to. I have no anger in me towards anybody. I owe to myself and to my children. That's who I owe. To my parents, who have been the best parents in the entire world, who gave me privileges among privileges. My father worked so hard for hours and hours, 2, 3 jobs when I was little, until he made his, he had his own business, and then he worked endlessly to provide for me, my sister, and my mom, and other people. And my mom worked endlessly. They still support families, and they did for years. And there was no better human beings than my parents in the world, to me, in my opinion. But, we just have to find a way to be good to each other and to be good to ourselves. When we are good to ourselves, we can be good to others. But not good to ourselves, where we steal and we lie and we're good con artists. Just because you can party and dance and tell a couple of jokes, at night when you're alone, you have to look at yourself in the mirror and know that there is something larger than us that sees everything we do and all our intentions. So, people can learn from their mistakes and people can change, but nobody can change another human being unless people want to change themselves and to make better decisions. It won't happen. And it doesn't happen because somebody in authority tells you to make it happen. It happens because you want it. You see so many con artists lying, in my opinion, in the judicial system and all that stuff. They lie because they're saving their own ass. They're saving themselves. Their tears are for themselves, not for the victims that they hurt, not for the people that they've punched, they've abused physically and emotionally, ripping apart another human being and enjoying it. No, that doesn't make them change. They have to want to change. If I'm doing something wrong, I have to want to make my life better and change it. For me, my religion and my faith and my spirituality help me want to be a better person. That's not for everybody, that's in my opinion. Find what makes you happy and move forward, not behind. And never, whether you're a male, a female, a transgender, gay, LGBT, gay, lesbian, bisexual, and whatever you are in these days, whatever you are, whoever you are, whatever you go by, just know that everybody has pain. Everybody has been through hardships. There are parents, I look at the hardships I've been through, and people go, oh my God, you've been through this and this and this. How are you even why do you have that attitude? Because I've seen my cousins die, 2 of them, from cancers and leave kids behind. I've seen at Sloan, my dad has gone through years and years of cancer, and you watch the babies that are there and the parents that are there watching their kids die. you go on YouTube videos, you see people born without limbs, and they they move forward with a smile on their face. And you say, okay, you know what? There's always going to be somebody who has it worse than you. And to say, I don't want to get older and I don't want to look old and I don't want to be this, growing old is a privilege. And 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 having another day is a privilege. So grasp it, love who you are, and let the negativity of the people who want to hold you down, that let them own that. They own it. They're nobody. You have to know who you are inside. It took me 53 years to know who I am. I thought I knew who I was, but I was still under something else's control, somebody else's control. And I gave them that power. Take back your power. Don't compete with a man if you're a woman. Be a freaking strong woman. You don't have to be a man. And you don't have to make a man less so that you can feel better. I don't want to be a man. I want to be a strong woman. You want to be a man, go right ahead. I've seen so many women like compete and hate men. I've had really bad men in my life, believe me. And I can tell you right now, I don't hate men. So, know who you are. You know, a woman, be a strong woman. You're a man, be a strong man. You're, whatever. Just do things in a way that you're serving a greater purpose with good in your heart, and not because you feel good when you put somebody else down or hurt somebody else or steal from somebody else or let somebody support you for 10 years while you're beating them down. Do good in your heart without those things. Never, I'm going to say this again, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not anybody in authority, I'm not a judge. If you need help, call the police. If you need a therapist, call a therapist. Whatever you need to do. But the minute somebody hits you once, somebody grabs you once, it's a matter of time till they do it again. And if you let them get away with bringing you flowers and apologizing, now you've just given them the authority. They know exactly what they have to do. The first time they might bring you flowers and apologize. The next time they'll up the game and bring you jewelry. Don't sell yourself to the devil. Don't let anyone lay a hand on you. Call the cops the first time. Because if you wait, the courts will tell you, well, you haven't gotten hit yesterday, so who cares what happened to you 4 months ago? They don't say it like that. That's my exaggeration in my opinion. But it can happen like that. I think everybody has good intentions in court, but they can say, well, you didn't call the cops. Call the cops. Before you call your mother or anybody else, call the police. Make a report. Go into court and take back your life. You don't deserve to be punched. You don't deserve to be hit. You don't deserve to be strangled. When somebody has their hands around your neck, it's not because they want to take you out to lunch. And it's not metaphorically. When somebody is physically on top of you and hurting you, and they're doing it in front of your children, or they're throwing things at the walls and creating holes in the walls, or they're stealing from your bank accounts or your children's bank accounts, or whatever the situation is for you. Call the cops. Get out. You're a lot stronger on your own than you are with anybody like that. Don't let the devil live in your house. Don't let them live in your soul or your mind or, your ability to move forward is really a mental state. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a lawyer, disclaimer again, none of those things. But in my opinion, it's a mental state. And in my opinion, move forward. Anyway, signing out. I hope all is well. And have a great day. I gotta get to work. Finish my brownie.